Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me for the March housing market update for Orange County and LA County. We're going to talk about where things are at today so far in 2022 and where things are headed. Okay, to get started, we're going to look at sales price, of course, and sales prices have increased drastically through Orange County and LA County. You can see here the blue column is our Orange County line, and the red column is LA County. So in Orange County, you can see we had a 21.1% increase, while in LA County that we had a 13.8% increase. And this is data, monthly data ending February 2022 versus February 2021. So next I want to look at the monthly data on a line chart for our average sales price. And you can see in the end of January, we had an average sales price of 1.26 in Orange County. And so just in the last month, we've seen a 7% increase, which is pretty rare from January to February. Usually we don't see quite that big of a jump. So we'll get back to some more sales price information here in a minute, but I want to jump over to days on market. So you can see we actually fell from January to February back down to these really historic lows. If we move this to the 3-year line, you're going to see we were back at this low number, 7 days in Orange County, 9 days in LA County, just extremely fast. That's basically as fast as you can sell a house. To put it on the market on a Wednesday, do open houses on the weekend, accept an offer on Monday, basically. So if we move this to the 5-year timeline for days on market, you can see it's just not been down to this 7 days ever in the last 5 years, especially if we open it up to our max data. This is as far back as we have information, January 2008. Of course, it wasn't anywhere near that amount of time back then, but we just have never seen days on market be this low. And that is causing prices to be drastically increased. That's why we're seeing such a fast-paced rise in home prices. It's also why we're seeing percent of original versus sales price ratio be so high. So this is the ratio between what a home was originally listed for and what it actually sold for. We're at 105.5% on average, so 5.5% above average list price. And this is the highest it's ever been. Because we have such low inventory and high demand, there's a lot of competition. We're seeing tons of multiple offers, and that's pushing this ratio up even further, 105% for Orange County and 104% for LA County. Okay, now we're going to look at closed sales. Now, this could be considered the demand side of the supply and demand equation, and we do have a decrease in closed sales from the previous month as well as the previous year. So last February, we had more properties sold in the month of February than we did this year. And a lot of that is due to that lack of inventory, the lack of supply. There's just not enough houses to sell to meet the level of demand, and that's causing, that the number of closed sales to drop. But we are still well above normal levels. If we look at the rolling 12-month data, this just takes the average over the last 12 months and puts it in each data point. And if we back this up to 5 years or even max, you can see that closed sales demand doesn't change. It stays very consistent over the years. Where prices go up and inventory goes down, we don't see that with closed sales. So even though we do see closed sales levels down just a little bit month over month, you can see from this graph that we're still well above where we normally have our we're still well above our closed sales levels on average through the course of time. So plenty of demand, just still not enough supply. Okay, now let's get to the biggest complaint we hear in the market today, and that is just the anemic level of active inventory. We're still sitting very low at 2,500 homes in Orange County, 8,000 homes in LA County. This is a decrease of 34% year over year. And you can see back in 2019, this is 3 times less than we had in February of 2019. 2,600 homes in Orange County of February 2019. And that is, again, historically very low. If we look at the max data here, if we go back to January 2008, when prices were actually falling and coming down, we had well over 50,000 homes on the market. Everyone always asks, when are home prices going to fall? So if you look at sales price, when was the last time we saw homes fall in any meaningful way? Was back in 2008. It bottomed out basically in 2009, of course, from the financial crisis. So when will prices fall again? Well, in order to do so, those supply levels have to get much higher. They have to get way higher. So if we look at the active listings, this 2,500, and let's get LA County off here for a minute. So in order for prices to fall, we have to have supply or active listings come way up. So if we look at the historic data back in 2008, when we were seeing prices fall in a meaningful way, we had well over 15,000 homes in Orange County actively for sale. So for prices to fall, inventory must go up. And this number has to triple or even quadruple and get close to this 10,000 homes on the market for us to see prices start to come down. Okay, for a second, let's talk about interest rates. So we have a situation right now where interest rates have risen a full percent over the last 6 months. Then back in September, they were 2.86% on average for a 30-year fixed mortgage. And as of February 24th, I believe is at 3.89 on average. Yeah, so we've seen we've seen interest rates come up basically a full percent, yet it hasn't really affected the market. It's still, getting hotter and hotter. We have not had any meaningful increase in active listings. However, if interest rates continue to rise through the end of the year and they reach that 4%, 4.5%, we will start to see the market shift slightly. So we've had the same situation happen in 2013. If you look at the active listings back in 2012, they dropped significantly through the end of 2012 to a level that we hadn't seen in a very long time. And then the sales price started to increase drastically as well. So because we started to see such an increase in price and a low level of homes on the market, when interest rates started to rise, it really affected the market. So if we look at the interest rate graph for the 30-year fixed on average, back in 2013, we had this big spike in interest rates that continued basically through the end of 2013, and it was able to level out the balance of the market. So instead of it being such a hot seller's market, the average time on market rose, more inventory came on the market, and it became a lot more balanced. That's what we're going to see happen in the end of 2022 if interest rates continue to rise, but they need to hit 4.5% and stay above 4.5% to have any meaningful change in the market. So for buyers, is now a good time to buy even though we're at record high prices? And the answer is probably. It depends. If you're thinking of buying in the next few years, you should not wait. If you decide that you're going to wait and buy a house next year or in 2024 and possibly even 2025, you're going to see much higher prices and you're likely going to see much higher interest rates. So your buying power is going to be a lot lower. With the inventory levels the way that they are, if you don't buy now, you're going to have to wait a really long time before you see prices drop, and they may not ever. We don't know. So if you're interested, you should probably buy. And sellers, is now still a good time to sell? Of course. There's never been a better time to sell than right now. Houses are selling in a week and at record high prices. But it's not all that easy. You still need to make sure that you're timing your property to sell correctly and you're preparing it so that the condition and the way that it shows looks very well. If a home doesn't show well and it's priced too high, it's still going to sit on the market no matter what. We still have a good 15 to 20% of our inventory that are homes that have been sitting on the market more than 30 days because they're either overpriced or they do not show very well. So when it comes to selling your home, feel free to talk to us. There's a lot of ways that we can go about making your home show ready and make sure that it looks perfect and it's priced right so that it sells quickly. And that's it. Thanks everyone for joining me for this month's housing market update. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. I have all of this data and information in a PDF market report. I'm happy to share that with you. Again, feel free to reach out with any questions. Thanks.